Hey guys, welcome back. I went out to the field for about a good 2 days. Got this nice and dirty, so I wanted to go ahead and do a cleaning video for those of you that have gas-operated rifles that want to ensure that they're going to get the most life out of the rifle. Let's go ahead and get down to breaking this down and pulling out the internals. If you don't already have one of these, you probably should go and get one of these. It's an actual gun cleaning kit. It makes it very useful to clean this rifle versus trying to do it with paper towels and your oils. So let's get into what this has in it. You do not want to use stuff like this. Silicone cloths, you don't want to use that, or the lubricant, or any more of the lubricant. It's not designed for an airsoft gun, it's designed for an actual pistol or rifle. So you want to use, what you're supposed to use is the silicone oil spray. Or they actually have silicone that comes in something similar to this that's safe to use on the gun. Let's get into getting these cleaned off with these patches, and we'll come back in a second. Okay, so we have our bolt carrier here. I'm going to go ahead and give this a good rub down. Let's get all that dirt off of there. You want to get underneath parts like this. It's easier if you pull your plastic bolt out. And you can remove these. We'll go in more detail on another video on how to do that. Now as you wipe off all this dirt, you're going to notice, especially if it's a newer gun, you're going to see a lot of areas where there's metal to metal contact. You can see the wear on the actual carrier itself and other parts as well. Those are the areas you want to focus on when you put oil on this. See, look at that. See all that black on these? That's all the dirt and things sticking into the gun when you're shooting it out in the field. There's no way to get around it. It's going to happen. That's why it's important that you clean these every time you take them out to make sure you're going to get the most life out of that gun. Now the new KWAs, which someone made a comment on one of my videos about how the carrier looks different. The back of this carrier is hollow. They used to be solid. So you want to definitely get in there with your finger, one of these patches, and get that nice and clean as well. Also want to clean this. This is where most of the dirt is going to stick to. It's inside of here. You see that bushing or that seal right there? That is definitely something you want to make sure you lubricate when you put this all back together. All these tracks right here run along the carrier, so you want to make sure you lubricate those as well. It's very important. Okay, see how it's now sticking? We just took a lot of that lubrication off, but when we're done, it should not be doing that. So take a look on here. You can see some of the wear along here. You can see some wear along the back right here, on these sides right here, especially on top. It's going to be all the areas that are going to be needing to be lubed, especially right here in this bottom sections right here. These grooves right here definitely need to be lubricated. Let's get you a closer look at this. Okay, these tracks as it goes in and out also need to be lubricated. Charging handle is very simple. This actually probably gets the dirtiest out of everything because it's usually outside. You're charging it in that fashion. It's probably also the easiest to clean. Make a taco here. And this does have a lot of movement onto metal parts, so you also want to make sure this has a coating of oil on it as well. This little lever, make sure you get behind that. And you got your buffer here. Get some more of these patches here. Do a quick rub on this. This is not as important as the main parts, but they do get dirty, as you can see. So if it's already out, you might as well clean it. Might as well get it taken care of. Look at that. Look at all these. This is all that nasty dirt and grime that came off those. They didn't even look that dirty, but they were definitely dirty. So take your patch, wrap it around, and rotate it through this spring. This is not as important. I do it anyways because I like everything to be clean, and knowing that it's going to be clean, I feel a lot better about it. So it may not be necessary for some of you, especially if you do a lot of upgrades. You just swap them out anyways, but I like to keep everything clean. Let's see what came off that. Look at that. Just off the spring. So this gets everywhere. So we got those wiped off. Let's go ahead and jump over to the lower. So this lower section, we're going to go ahead and wipe this out. Okay. Go up and bring this hammer up. Wipe this hammer down real good. Wipe down this mag well in here. Yep. Okay, got a little bit of stuff coming out of there. Now this buffer tube right here, there's a lot of crap that gets stuck down in there. So usually I like to clean this. Why? Because a lot of dirt and grime gets stuck in there over time, and what happens when you shoot it? It's going to blow back onto your I'm stuttering over here. Your newly clean parts. And you don't want that, so you want to make sure you have this nice and clean so you're not going to have contamination. See how dirty that was? Let's flip this over and get this side. Okay. And go ahead and wipe down this hammer and the sides here. Now this is your bolt catch. This should be able to freely move on its own. If it's not doing that, then you need to definitely take this apart and clean it, which I'll show in a different video. down in here, these internals, unless they're really, really grimed up, gunk and all that, you don't need to take this apart, okay? When I do that, I will do a video on it to show you guys, just so you guys are aware, but you do not need to do that for basic cleaning. Basic cleaning is wiping down all these to make sure they're nice and clear of dirt and debris, and making sure there's a good amount of oil on there. Now, this hammer part right here, this is where the bolt's actually rolling along top of the hammer. It rolls on top of this hammer right here, and it goes down into this tube, okay? On this gun, that tube is actually where you're getting your recoil. So it's going in and it's hitting that buffer in the spring, and it's coming back out, okay? So that's why you want to make sure that whole section's clean there. Now we'll go over here to this upper, okay? The main parts you want to be looking at, it's all down in here, okay? All those grooves, all those slots, you want to make sure you get those nice and clean. So let's go ahead and start wiping this down. Okay. A little bit of dirt there. Trying to get this top section without blocking your view. Okay. Top of this top. Then we'll go down inside right here. I like to use my brush for this with the patch. You want to clean up and down in this groove. Okay. Looks like we got some dirties right there. Now if you look inside of here, you can see the wear on the metal. That is where the bolt is sliding along this. So you want to make sure you get a nice light coating inside of there. Also this interior section right here, the nozzle is, you want to make sure you get that nice and clean too as well. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and do this in reverse order. I'm going to go ahead and take my patch, nice clean patch, my spray. I'm going to add some to that. Okay. I'm going to put a light coating, I'm going to run it down the side. Okay. You don't want too much of this on the rifle because then you'll start attracting a lot of dirt. So you want to make sure you putting the right amount on here. Just want enough so it's lubricated, not too much to where it's literally dripping, soaking wet. Okay. We'll also take our brush again. We'll put a light coating up in that groove up in there. Which this is actually where the charging handle is sliding across inside of. So you saw how dirty that was. You can only imagine how dirty this is. So got that nice and wiped down, nice and clean. Now let's get our bolt here. Bring these back. Okay. Same thing. I'm gonna get a new patch. Okay. I like to rub this on the sections that it's going to get the most friction, like right here. This needs to be coated. Okay. This slot right here, the back side. Using the patches are a really good idea to make sure you get a good coating on here. It's enough to where when you fire it for first couple times. It's going to look a little bit drier than you normally would see it. But all these sections where it actually really needs the oil, it's going to accumulate in just the right amount from what I've found. This for me happens to be the best way to do this. As you can see, it doesn't look like it's overbearingly oiled. Spraying it directly on is, you can easily get that coated too much, which is what you want to try to avoid. Now I do sometimes spray in this back section to wipe out the excess, but see how we're not getting it, it's not getting stuck how I usually used to. Looks like this catch. Let's grab a little bit. Let's go ahead and. There we go. Give this a little bit more coating. There we go. And go ahead and get this charging handle. This one I usually do spray directly on. And I'll wipe. I just spray a little bit on there and go ahead and wipe it. Okay, you want to get the top of this as well, because that rail inside the upper that we're looking at, where the top of this is going to run on. Make sure we get that nice and coated. A little bit more. Okay, I do leave that a little bit more wet so I can grab that. This one doesn't really need a whole lot. Just put a light coat on. There's already actually a coating on here from when I wiped it slightly. And let's go ahead and put this all back together. Okay, let's go ahead and put all this back together. Make sure everything is functional. Okay, do a quick little inspection, make sure everything's good. Okay, looks like there's a good amount of lubrication done on this. Go ahead and we'll put this in past the detent. Okay, got our buffer and spring inserted. Okay, we get our upper receiver. Okay, got our charging handle, bolt carrier. You're going to put this on top of that rod, and these are going to insert, let's see if I can give you guys a better view, along these slots here, okay, and they just push right in, okay. Take your upper and your lower, get this. I usually start with the utmost front pin first, hold it upright, get that last pin. Now we'll do a functionality check. Okay, make sure that that is operating how it's supposed to. Functionality check. Okay, perfect. Now you're going to get a lot of fingerprints on the outside of your gun, so usually what I do is I'll get a Nice paper towel. Wipe these off. We should be good. And that pretty much is all you really need to do when it comes to basic maintenance of the rifle. You could break it down a lot more than that, but it's not really necessary unless you have a lot of issues starting to arise from a lot of buildup, a lot of gunk. You really don't need to take it apart further than that. This is basically just basic maintenance on the rifle. Every time you go out to the field, you want to make sure you do something like this to make sure it stays clean, because you're not going to get major buildup like that if you keep it clean. Long term, it's going to be better off. And keeps this bolt sliding how it needs to be. Nice and smooth. It's not going to give you a whole lot of issues as long as you keep it clean. That's the key for rifles like this. So that concludes the video for this. If you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and throw them down there in the comment section. Like and subscribe to my videos. I'm coming out with more content. I'm trying to do more of like once or twice per week. By Monday of next week, I should actually have my gameplay videos out. I just didn't get enough footage last time. I want to make sure I have enough footage to actually make content that's viewable for you guys. I don't want to put a lot of crap content out. Even though I'm new and I'm learning, I still am trying my best to make sure that I'm doing it the correct way. This video is a little long. Bear with me with that. That is because I want to make sure that I'm putting all the information out that I need to put out so we don't make mistakes or errors and things like that. And if you take a look, these are all the patches I used. They're all filthy. And that's off of just a day and a half of playing out in the field. So that's why it's important. This thing will last me forever as long as I keep it up. So, alright guys, like I said, I'm going to end the video here. If you like my videos, like, subscribe, and comment. Alright guys, have a good day.